What's going on, guys? This is James Allen. I am recording this on Monday, February 23rd, 2026. I started outlining the steps I'm going to take to onboard my Cityscape users to the Kaspa network. And I was glad to see that Kaspa supports extended public keys. They're called kPUB on Kaspa. And I also noticed that not a lot of influencers have talked about Kaspa kPUB. So I decided to do an episode on it because I do think it's an important topic, especially if you're a Web3 founder or developer. I think kPUBs could help you a lot. So let's cover this topic. I do also want to say that not every network supports extended public keys, right? So we shouldn't take that for granted. Solana, for an example, don't support extended public keys. Neither do Internet Computer. So let's not take for granted that Kaspa has such mechanism. So what are kPUBs? kPUB is a public master key that you could use to generate an infinite number of wallet addresses. I'm going to say this one more time. A kPUB is a master public key that you could use to generate an infinite number of wallet addresses. And because these wallet addresses are read-only, they cannot send or sign transactions. They cannot send funds or sign transactions. Now you might ask yourself, like, why the hell would you want something like this? Well, let me explain. Let me explain the dilemma founders often face when they're dealing with blockchain application. So if you're a Web3 founder and you're onboarding users to your Web3 app, you're gonna need to give them a wallet, right? And many regular people, when you hand them a 24-word seed phrase, they look at this stuff and they say, what the hell is that, right? When you start talking about 24-word seed phrase and private keys, it really intimidates a lot of people. And I think a lot of people in the Web3 community don't realize how scary the whole Web3 ecosystem is to the average user. So a Web3 founder is stuck with the dilemma of either handing them a seed phrase and losing their user, or not handing them anything at all and storing that seed phrase on their back end. And if they do that, if they store the seed phrase on their back end, they're basically a custodian, right? They're basically a custodial wallet. They're storing the person, they have control of the person's money. And this actually puts you like into legal trouble. Like there's legal risks for doing that. But more importantly, this also makes you like a target, right? There's cybersecurity risks for storing people's private keys on your back end. So you don't really want to do that, right? It's not worth the legal or the cybersecurity risk. So what's the solution for this? Well, Kaspa has an answer. It's called kPUB. And like I've already said, kPUB is a master public key that you could use to generate an infinite number of wallet addresses. Now let's get into what kPUBs can and cannot do. kPUBs can, deterministically generate wallet addresses. They could monitor balances, so you could track people's balances using kPUB addresses. You could use them to construct Explorer links. You could use them for to receive tokens, your custom tokens that you've deployed to the Kaspa network. So if you have a custom token that you've deployed on Kaspa, that kPUB wallet address that your user has can receive that token, right? It's very important, right? And, kPUBs is basically a read-only wallet address where they could receive tokens, Kaspa or whatever token is deployed on a network. And you could also use it to, construct Explorer links. So kPUBs are very useful in that sense, but they're not like omnipotent, right? They have limitations. And what you cannot do with kPUB wallet addresses is you cannot send funds. You cannot sign transactions. You cannot derive the private keys or the seed phrase from the kPUB address. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention that you can do with kPUB wallet addresses is you could look at a kPUB wallet address and determine if it belongs to your ecosystem. Another important feature that I think is pretty cool, and that's thanks to the Kaspa path rules for creating wallet addresses. I'll get into that in another episode, but you could look at a kPUB wallet address and determine if it belongs to your ecosystem, not just like deposit the tokens you've created on Kaspa to that kPUB wallet address. You could do a lot of things with it that are very useful. But remember, its limitations are you cannot send funds, you cannot sign transactions, and you cannot derive the seed phrase or the private keys from the kPUB wallet address. And this limitation is a blessing, actually, because this limitation allows us to store that kPUB wallet address on a back end, right? So we could store the user's kPUB wallet address on a user document and not have to worry about, any cybersecurity threat, because that kPUB wallet address is extremely limited. So you won't be compromised for having it on your Web 2 infrastructure. Now, I want to show you how I'm going to use kPUB on Cityscape, because I think this will drive the point home. Like I said, when Cityscape, launches, it's purely an urban exploration app where people do missions for social connections in a city, but they are also competing for street cred, right? People playing the Cityscape game are also competing for street cred, because street cred is the token they get every time they complete a mission. And the more street cred they accumulate, the more they move up in rank. So it becomes like a status symbol. So I have to be clear, the street cred token I'm going to deploy on Kaspa for Cityscape is going to be purely a status signal during the initial stages. It's just a reputation signal. They cannot really do anything with street cred other than say, hey, look at my rank, look at how many missions I've completed. So realize that street cred at the initial stages doesn't have any economic value, right? So Kaspa kPUB wallet addresses are perfect because I don't need the user to send transactions. Street cred at the moment is something they purely just accumulate so that they could show off their reputation, so that they could show off that they're high status. So they don't need to spend it. Perfect. Now, as Cityscape develops as a game and as a platform, I am sure there will be utility outside of reputation for the street cred token, right? But with these kPUB wallet addresses in the meantime, as users are completing a mission, I could send the real street cred token to that user's Kaspa kPUB wallet address, right? So while I'm figuring out the real economic value of the street cred token as we scale, as we get more users, as more people complete missions, when people are playing the game, they will be receiving real street cred tokens thanks to the kPUB wallet address I've given them when they've onboarded the Cityscape app. So I hope that's clear. Now, once we do find the economic incentives behind street cred, once we do find use cases outside of pure reputation, right? Now it makes sense to turn that kPUB or to give the user a non-custodial wallet, because I can't turn that kPUB wallet address into a full non-custodial address. I have to give the user a brand new wallet, right? But realize that now that the user values street cred and understands its utility, right? When I'm finally showing them a 24-word seed phrase so that they could have a full non-custodial wallet, they're going to be patient. They're going to put up with like the extra headache of dealing with a seed phrase and private keys, right? Because they understand the value of street cred. They know how to use it. And, the economic incentives are clear. So in that later stage, after Cityscape scales, I'm going to turn the street pass, which right now is really just a reputation interface, right? People show off their street pass to say, hey, look at my rank, look at how many missions I've completed. It's just purely a reputation interface. But when street cred has utility outside of just reputation and there's economic incentives to trade street cred, I'm going to turn that street pass, which is the reputation interface, into an economic instrument by turning it into a full non-custodial wallet. This is when I will give the user the 24-word seed phrase and all that stuff. But since they already know the app and understand street cred, they're going to be patient with all this seed phrase stuff, and you're not going to scare them away because they're a dedicated player to your ecosystem. So this is how I'm using kPUB on my use case. I think you founders out there should realize that kPUB is something you could also use so that, at the early stages of your application, you don't scare off normal people. And when your economic incentives are clear, when you scale to thousands of users, then you could give the user a full non-custodial wallet and they won't need that kPUB wallet address anymore. Now, how do you create a kPUB? It's rather simple, right? You will need either a ledger or an air-gapped laptop so that you could create a Kaspa wallet and the seed phrase could be completely offline. The seed phrase need to never be online. It needs to be entirely offline. And you could do that either by using an air-gapped machine or a ledger. Once you create that wallet and you have your seed phrase, use that wallet you've created to get your kPUB. Once you have your kPUB, that kPUB is safe to put on your back end now. And then you're going to write code that's going to use that kPUB, which you're probably going to use, you're probably going to store as an environment variable in your configuration, right? You're going to use that kPUB on your back end with some code to generate a new wallet address every time a new user joins your platform. Now, the technical implementation of this, I will cover in another episode so that you Web3 founders out there could sort of orient yourself on how to actually write this code out and do it correctly. But for now, I just need you to understand a high level concept that you do not need to give your users a full non-custodial wallet at launch. You could just use kPUBs, which are read-only wallet addresses. This will make your users part of the Web3 ecosystem. And when your economic incentives are fully flushed out, then you could introduce a full non-custodial wallets. And since the user will already be familiar with your application and the use case of your token, they will be patient in putting up with those seed phrase and all these bizarre things that we do in the Web3 community. In any case, my misfits, that's all I have for you in this episode. You know what to do. Don't forget to press that like button and support me on Patreon. I will see you next time.